Hello, Anna Agnelli. I am so happy and thrilled to be here with you today. Thank you so much for the time you have been taking. And I invited you for our interview today for Polyband Mind and Spirit because you have made a great documentary movie on a woman that the world knows for her humanitarian achievements, but of course also for her great, great hugs that she gives to the world. It is Amma. And you have made the documentary Ammas Way. Her example of love and inner strength and selflessness, she has inspired people all around the world to open their hearts a little more, but also to devote their free time to serving in society, which I think is a very important thing in this world today, because if you look at it, how love comes along, like how many layers for human mankind you can find in love. So I'm excited to talk to you about this.
Thank you for having me here. It's a pleasure to be able to speak about this wonderful chance that I had to make this film, because I consider it a wonderful chance. And so I'm grateful for that. Okay, so how did I get into making this film? Because of my own personal path towards spirituality, I knew of her existence and I knew many friends who knew of her, but I had never had the curiosity to go and meet her. Until 2014, when I lived in London and I saw advertisements for her program, and I tried to convince many friends to go with me, and nobody was available or nobody was interested. And I just sort of went on my own to her program in London. And I waited for many, many hours. And finally, I kind of reached up to her and I got her darshan, her hug. And something happened inside me. I was definitely very shaken and touched. Something touched me. So I went home that night and I came back the next day to the program. And then I went to the last day's program as well. And without getting another hug, but I just wanted to be there to understand what my feelings were. And then I found out that she was on her way to Milan. The next program was in Milan, which is where I lived before London. So I went home and I got a flight and I went to Milan. and there I met some of the people that worked with her, and I met some of the people that I interviewed, and I was really taken aback and really shaken by all the work that I was realizing they were doing all the time. The fact that they were working 24 hours nonstop, like I was observing at that point everything that was going on around her. And when I came home from the Milan program, I thought to myself, okay, I have to go to India. And I had never been in my life when I had been all around the world. So in January, this was November, in January, I went to India and I went to her ashram. And I stayed there for a little over 2 weeks on my own. And I met an incredible amount of people that work around her, who are, a lot of them are volunteers, a lot of them work and have jobs so that they can then follow her and help her. And before I came back from that 2-week period, I had said to myself, I have to tell this story. This is incredible. What this woman is doing, what she's doing inside people's hearts was really incredible. And it was more incredible to listen to everybody's stories than to hear her talk, because they really touched my heart. And so I came back and I thought, I have to tell this story. And that's where it started. So it was very quick. Everything was very quick.
Yeah. Wow. That's like, I'm getting some goosebumps. It's really touching. And you have really just also answered the next question that I would have asked you, because I mean, what's obvious in the movie is that you're interviewing everyone around her, right? Like there's a lot of interaction with people that are around her. And it has a lot of power because, as you say, sometimes it has even more power if you show how a person touches other people than like talking to her face to face. But I would still like to know, like, when was the point that you decided for your documentary that she is not going to talk to the audience really of the movie, but it's really just going to be people around her in it?
Yeah, so that is the one question that everybody asks me. So I completely understand. You know, to be honest with you, I never had any intention of interviewing her. You know, somebody had come out with another documentary about Amma. It was Shekhar Kapoor, and his film is called The Science of Compassion, and he interviews Amma, and it's a beautiful interview and it's a beautiful film. But you know, it's speaking to her from a video, which is the same as hearing anybody on a video. It's a machine, right? You cannot get anything of what she truly is from listening to her speaking in film, on a film, or in an interview, or whatever, on a photograph. And so I didn't tell anybody because everybody was expecting this, including my producer. So I just kind of put it off. Yeah, I will do it. And I think if I really wanted to, I could have done it, but it just would not have given more to the film. Because when you listen to people speaking about her, you really get the emotion. It goes straight to your heart. And, you know, and the emotion from Amma comes straight to your heart. Whenever you are even in the radius of 100 meters from her, 200 meters from her, you can feel her. But from a video, it just does not come through what she is. And so I thought, I can't do that. It just would diminish who and what she is. So the point of this film, apart from showing the world what she actually builds in the world, and not just her darshan, which is amazing in and of itself, but I wanted to show what she really manifests, how she changes people, and how it finally happens that she helps the world. But then I thought to myself, I want people who have not met her to come out of this film and curious, and next time she might be around in a program, that they will actually go and meet her, and she will do the rest.
Yeah, that's, I understand that. That's a very great thought, and yeah, great feeling for you that you had for your film. Have you personally ever spoken to her before the film or after the film?
Yeah, I have spoken to her, just like anybody can really speak to her. If you have enough patience, you can speak to her. You can, if you have enough time to sit and wait, and you can wait to put your question through, anybody can speak to her. I spoke to her many times, and not just because I was shooting, but of course the reason why I was able to do this film was because I asked her directly. It happened that when I was there for those 2 weeks in India in 2015, in India, things are slightly different than in the programs that she does around the world. So there's more time, she's more available. Obviously, the programs last maybe 2 days, 3 days, 25,000 people go through. There's just so much, she's only got that time to give. But in India, at the ashram, she's there, she's more available. And so the night before I left, I was close to her with hundreds of other people. And I just basically got one last darshan. And when I got it, I basically said to her, I would like to make a film about you, about the people around you. And the question was translated to her, and she said, okay. And so that's how I managed to get this chance, this opportunity. Otherwise, it wouldn't be that simple to be that close to her and to her organization. Not anybody just can do. Anybody, I suppose, but it just sort of came straight from her, and that's how I could. Her sort of acceptance of my idea was directly coming from her. So at that point, I had open doors. I had that amazing opportunity, basically.
Great. Has she seen the movie? Has she seen the documentary? Do you know?
I was there 2 weeks ago in India, and we had a screening at the ashram, and I think it's possible that she had seen it. Yes. Did I ask her about it? No, I don't care. Yeah. I don't care. Yeah. It's done. people have given me feedback, you know, this has to go into the world, and it will hopefully bring some knowledge of what this incredible human being has done to people that don't know her. But I don't need to know what she thinks about it. You know, the fact that she allowed me to do it is already enough for me.
Yeah, yeah, beautiful. What do you think is her most important message or achievement in the world? Like, do you have like one or two things that you think this is what I really needed the world to see through the documentary? That's one. But now if like for our audience, you can say like the one or two things, if there are.
Yeah, it's basically to sort of get a realization that as human beings, we are all in need of love and compassion, and when we get those, somehow when we satisfy that in ourselves, then it's so easy to then give that back, you know. And so to realize that when you're doing something selflessly for the world or for somebody else, somehow you are much happier than when you're doing something for yourself. And this is one of the biggest things that I have taken from Amma, is that people around her, or even me, like when you are around her, you are incredibly happy. You've got a lot of energy. You're in a great mood. It's almost like you're in love, but you know, nobody's in love with her. It's not that. But most of us know what it feels like to be in love. It's this amazing lightness that you feel, and that you're happy, that you smile at everybody out there, that even if somebody's at the red light, and you know, when you're stressed in the car, but if you're in love, no, everything flows, right? And it just feels good. And so the message that I get from her is that if you feel that for real, then you are happy, then you give back, and it just is like a cycle that never ends, and it sort of perpetuates itself. And when you make somebody happy, it's somehow that happens, that feeling of love happens inside you, and that's what makes a real difference. And it changes, like it almost changes sort of what you're made of. It's like if you practice love, you then are made of love. And that's, you know, it's true. There is like, you know, people around her, people who generally are around sort of selfless service, or people who help others, are generally very happy. Like, you know, you won't find somebody angry in those sort of sectors. And that's something you can take away from her, which is applicable to all of us, you know, in a very easy manner, basically, and understandable by all of us.
Yeah, and I mean, it's something very, you know, achievable, like something we can really practice in our hearts, but then also like going out and try to achieve and dive into this loving service, I guess. I do have a question though, because I mean, we're all human, and we all know when things are sometimes, I don't know, we get triggered, you know, as human beings. Have you ever experienced Amma in a not so loving, not so open-hearted way? Like, is there this human part that, you know, we know, all of us, no matter how much love we practice, does that ever appear in her, do you think, or have you experienced it?
I don't think it exists. Actually, I have never experienced it, and judging from hearing so many stories, also from people who are at this point, you know, on the older side, and who met her when she was just a young girl, I don't think that exists in her. I don't think she is like every other human being. I think there is a quality in her being which is not human. This is how I can say it. No, I don't think that exists. I don't think this person has an ego like we do.
Wow. Yeah, that's so great. Thank you for sharing your impressions with us. And I mean, thank you for making this documentary, which obviously shows how much impact she has, right? On a political basis, also on society in India in first place, but then also all over the world. And so thank you, Anna. Thank you very much for taking the time and sharing a little bit of your impressions and your work with us.
Thank you for listening to this. You know, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure to be able to speak about someone who is magic. You know, so I hope that you will get a chance when her tours start again. I hope you will get the chance to go and see for yourself as well.
Yeah, I will definitely do that.
It's an experience, it's a real experience. If anything, it's an experience, and wonderful lives are made with wonderful experiences. So
yeah, great. Thank you so much.